well, we're here in KwaMkhuze in KwaZulu-Natal, and as you've aptly put it, we are in conversation with King Misuzulu, kaZwelithini. It's not every day that you get an intimate moment with the king in such a manner, and you'll know that he's not somebody who's particularly been in the media. And so, Stephen, I would like to just get straight into it. And Dabezita, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
It's lovely to see you and to speak to you and to hear your voice.
Thank you.
I think I want to start off by talking about your upbringing. You've spent time in Eswatini.
Yes.
You grew up in KwaZulu-Natal, and for some part of your life, you grew up and you spent time in America. What I want to know from you, when you look at your upbringing and the way in which, the values that were instilled in you, did you always know that you were going to be a king? Were there any telltale signs?
Thank you, Ngcobo. Just for a start, I'd like to thank everybody, and just to also begin, just to let everybody know that I'm very privileged to be able to speak with everybody, but at the same time, and also to just share my background, my living. I was very privileged growing up, through my father and the Queen. I obviously, as you know, my mother coming from Swaziland, being the sister to the present King Mswati III, I was very privileged to grow up as a royal in both countries, Swaziland and also with my immediate family here in Zululand. And just to share, I was really blessed. I grew up in Swaziland for my primary school, and then from there I came back. From there I lived in Durban up until I graduated primary school, and then after primary school I moved to Pietermaritzburg. I went to a league college, a grade school, St. Charles College. There weren't very many black people at the time, so I did get myself exposed like that to other cultures, which I was very privileged to be able to learn from other cultures while I was in high school, and playing rugby as a sport, and having to be an academic at the same time, and balancing my life and really creating new friendships, which I sometimes call the friendships that you make in high school are your lifetime friendships, which basically from there I moved to America, where I was there for many years. America is a vast country, obviously compared to our country, South Africa. And while I was there, I learned a lot. I made great friends, met many people. So I wouldn't say I had a great life. I was blessed.
But did you always know that you were going to be the king? Did you have an inkling when you look at your upbringing? Did you ever get a sense that there was something special about you, or there was special attention paid to you when you look at your life and where you are right now, and the responsibility that's now been placed on you? Because this is a big responsibility that you're now taking up.
Absolutely. You're right. Thank you, Ngcobo. I never knew I was going to be king. Coming from a polygamous background, you can never be sure of anything, and having to share your mother and your father with the rest of the nation, to even try to suspect that you might be king, or you might be senior prince, or you might be a senior in the family, is very difficult, because the family is very big. It consists out of 12 houses of Zulu, which, picking of a king is a very difficult process, which I don't even think any of my brothers even thought I was going to be king, or they would be king for that matter. We were never raised like that. Just to answer your question, and I never knew I'd be king.
And I'm asking you because I want to take you back then to that night of the reading of your late mother's will.
Yes.
You know, in fact, before I get to that night, let's talk about the memorial, because the memorial took place during the day and the reading of the will was later on.
Absolutely.
But you arrived at your mother's memorial flanked by Amaboto. That sent a strong message. Did you do that deliberately? And whose decision was it? Because it was in that moment then when there was a sense that you were actually announcing your presence and announcing that I am the rightful person to sit on the throne.
I like that question, Ngcobo. On that day, arrival, it just happened automatically. I think the Zulus were already hungry for a king. They were hungry for a leader to sit on that seat. But if you remember, once again, all of this was happening. This was my mother's memorial,
yes.
And also it was also my family homestead as family. So even the warriors, while they were there, they felt the pain that I was going through. You know, having lost my father, now it's the Queen, and through that comfort and support, that's why what happened. I did not plan it.
Okay, and then you know, then we fast forward into the evening. Then, firstly, the will is being read out publicly. Yeah. Was that a deliberate decision? Were you aware that the entire nation would be privy to the reading of your mother's will?
I like that question also, but just to mention, Ngcobo, that will was the fact that we wanted everything to happen quickly, insofar as reading it publicly would almost like diffuse a lot of things that were already in people's minds, and whoever was thinking whatever they were thinking, because if you remember that at that time my father's will was already in dispute. Yes. And you know, we sat down with the attorneys and everybody involved to say, look, this one let's do in public, because my father's one was done privately, and we said this one let us do public, just to also send a message publicly, so that everyone is on a clear picture on what's happening and what's going on. And I did not know that night that my name was going to be read on that will.
Okay, because I was actually going to get there, but we'll talk a little bit about the tensions that needed to be diffused. Please do go ahead. But take us back to the moment you were sitting on that chair. Chair, by the way, you say you didn't know, but that chair is specifically designated for the king. But take us through the moment where Prince Thokozani stands up. The will has concluded, the reading of the will has concluded, but Prince Thokozani stands up. And in that moment, at some stage, you get up and you leave. I was there and I didn't even see you actually get off your seat. It happened so quickly. One, what made you stand up? Who told you to stand up? What told you in that moment that I need to leave? But also in you leaving, did you think that something bad would happen? And when I say bad, as in your life is under threat and I could die any moment.
Thank you for asking that, Ngcobo. No, to answer your question, it was beyond me what happened at that time, that minute. It's a matter of security, who look after me, and it's a security measure that saw the threat, and I was removed immediately after they saw the threat. And really, Prince Thokozani, I probably met him twice in my life. I don't know him. I just need to, I don't know Prince Thokozani. I've probably seen him with Prince Simagate, who actually introduced me to him. I think I've seen him twice in my life. So what he was saying, really, I didn't think he was going to be a threat or anything.
Okay.
You know, I was even surprised that he was there.
Okay.
For any reason, but there he was disputing whatever he was disputing, but just honestly, I don't know him.
So, interestingly, you've mentioned Princess Magade.
Yes.
Do you have a relationship with him?
Oh, yes.
And it's important to speak about him because I think it fits into the larger tensions that we speak of, and for the benefit of those who might not know, that Princess Magade is the person who your aunts and uncles are putting forward as the rightful heir to the throne. How does that make you feel? Have you spoken to Prince Magade?
We have spoken a couple times since the death of my father, and also we spoke at the time of the death of the Queen. But I didn't know when we spoke that he would be a so-called contender to what my family had initiated for myself, obviously through the respect of the king. But for me personally, Ngcobo, just to answer a question that I think a lot of people are asking in their heads, I don't have a problem with the will. You know, out of respect for my father, and out of
your mother's will, to
and my mother's will at the same time, because they go together.
Yes.
It's first the kings and then the queens.
Yes.
I have never questioned my father. I respect him even when he's dead. I respect his word even when he's no longer with us. But everything, I don't believe the signatures are fake. But these are court matters.
Yes.
I don't like to go into detail with them. But just out of respect for the Zulu people, myself, the throne, and the rest of the family, I don't dispute anything my father has put on the table for the rest of the family insofar as the will.
Ndabezitha, I think for the AmaZulu nation and the world at large, because a lot of these tensions have played out publicly, as part of the tasks that you need to take on, it is of course going to have to be dealing then with the disunity within your family, because what is happening in the AmaZulu royal household has an implication for the AmaZulu nation. How do you plan to deal with this?
I do and would like to admit that we are going through a crisis, but at the same time, it's something that can be solved. I do believe that all of this will be over one day, and everybody will come back home, and we will sit down as a family. I believe it's a matter that the family needs to sit down and solve, because at the end of the day, we can't have two kings. We have to have one. So hopefully, very soon, family will come together and come up with one contenters insofar as that matter, and everybody can move on, because really what's happening now with the family, the nation is concerned. The rest of South Africa is asking questions.
Exactly.
But I am promising everybody that we will get to the bottom of the problem, and we will solve this as a family, you know, bringing our minds and holding hands together. We should be able to solve this problem.
Bayete, you know, you're now on the throne. Do we have a new queen?
Yes, I do have a queen. I've done my lobola, and she's a lovely woman.
Yeah.
We've been together for many, many years. She has met together my mother and my father, and she's given me two beautiful boys whom I love dearly. She's a great woman, and yeah, I look forward to living a life with her, holding hands, you know, working for our people moving forward, and, you know, her being the queen. And really, what I want to emphasize for her, she needs to be able to learn all the cultural things that my mother, the queen, and has been doing for the Zulu people.
Yeah.
I know it will take some time, but really, I think she's a smart, great woman. She'll be able to handle it.
And you know, when we think about, you know, the seat that you have now occupied, you're occupying, I should say, are you going to follow in your father's footsteps, maybe have more wives, or that's not where you quite are yet in terms of your thinking?
You know, I always like to say that I always like to say, Ngcobo, that my father left a foundation for myself to be able to work on. Everything that my father started needs to come to pass. And then once we've completed that, even though he's no longer with us, I know wherever he is, he will be happy that at least what he started has been completed. And then we move, to the next level, because I do believe there's so much to do within our people, whereby the poverty, problem with poverty, unemployment, but I have the youth since I'm a young king in my heart, and I know there are problems which I think needs to be addressed the right way through our culture and understanding, insofar as holding hands with different institutions, obviously government and friends inside of the country and outside, moving forward, which means obviously creating your relationships.
Yeah. What would you say to those who may be doubting your capabilities as the king of AmaZulu, given your background in terms of you didn't just only grow up in KwaZulu-Natal? There has been, some concern, like, will you be able to actually know the challenges of the AmaZulu nation and be able to address them in the manner in which an AmaZulu king should? What would you say then to the naysayers who doubt the depth of knowledge of the seat that you are now occupying?
Just to give everybody a word of confidence, I'm very confident, and also moving forward, really, I think a king that's been more exposed is better than a king that's never been exposed. I think my exposure to the different cultures and understanding of different things, which the country we live in today, South Africa, you have to compromise and have to learn about other cultures. So we need a king today who understands all those cultures, so that we can live in good understanding and knowing each other and respecting our boundaries and our different cultures altogether.
And while you'll be dealing with the compromising, there is an issue that touches your subjects in particular, and that's the issue of land. And your late father was quite, passionate, together with the traditional Prime Minister, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, about the Ingonyama Trust land. From where you are sitting now, what are your concerns and what are your plans for land, in particular land under Ingonyama Trust?
Just to mention that once again, I'm very privileged, and I would like to say very blessed to have Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi being my mentor, at the same time being on my side and walking with me this tough road which I'm walking. But at the same time, I would like to give confidence to people that's also around us, insofar as different issues, constituting what we need to do. But rural development is the greatest thing and a priority to my life. I do believe the rural areas need to be developed, not maybe to be metros, but they need to be orderly and be formalized in the right way. Whether it's your agriculture, whether it's your development insofar as infrastructure, all of that, I feel, and that is my priority, which really, the reason of the issue of land, that's the bottom line of everything. Give us time to develop our land. Zulus coming together in unity and being able to move forward, protecting, that's the only way we can protect our land. And we are very fortunate that we have influential people, the Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, and other stakeholders, including our Premier, Sihle Zikalala. I think he's a bright man. He has a vision, just like myself and Chief Mangosuthu Buthelezi. his lordship. So we've got it together, I think, insofar as that's concerned. We have a direction, we have a vision, insofar as protecting the land.
And just lastly from my side, if you could just take us into your confidence. You've just touched on it now, of course, your vision for your subjects, the AmaZulu nation in particular, but also to touch on something that will be unique to you. I think your father would have been aware of it, but it would be unique to you in that you are the second AmaZulu monarch to actually reign in a constitutional democracy.
Yes.
And there are questions about the ability of the royal household to be self-sustainable. And so if you could just start off there and touch on that and then give us the bigger picture of your ultimate vision as the 9th monarch of the AmaZulu nation.
Thank you, Ngcobo. That's a great question. I'll tell you why. Because the Constitution is there to protect everybody at the end of the day. If I am a constitutional monarch, I am very safe and comfortable with and for the Constitution. And the only way things can happen is if you are part of that Constitution, of which I am. I think that answers your question, Ngcobo.
But then your vision, Bayede, for your subjects as well. I think it's important that you speak directly to them.
Absolutely.
Given the context of what we've been speaking about, the divisions within the AmaZulu royal household, the fact that your father was the longest serving monarch, and so they may not know you and who you are, and the kind of thinking that you have for them.
Oh, thank you, Ngcobo. I'm confident that with the ideas and visions which I have, and also through my exposure internationally, I think there's a lot that will benefit my people, moving them forward. Obviously, just like I mentioned now, through creating those good relationships throughout the world for various reasons. To get programs, building your schools, your development centers for skills transfer and all of that. Really, that's what I'd like to see for and amongst my people for many reasons. And luckily for me, my father had already left that platform for me to be able to work and carry on with it, which it doesn't matter how long it takes, but at least we're on the road with that. So my visions do matter, but I also would like to be able to complete my father's visions.
Bayede, thank you so much for your time. We hope that we'll have more time going forward to speak to you. We do know that there is a coronation that is being planned, so we thank you very much for opening up to us, sharing with us where you are right now, and actually just clarifying, I think, certain issues or non-issues that may be concerning the AmaZulu nation. Well, Stephen Crotis, I tell you what, it's not every day that you get to sit with an incoming king of the AmaZulu nation. That was King Misuzulu, kaZwelithini, Stephen Crotis. And I tell you what, you would have heard him speaking about many issues. You would have, the tensions in the royal household, but also the positive. Who is King Misuzulu, kaZwelithini? I think the nation has a better idea of who he is, and would have heard through his own voice then his vision for the AmaZulu nation.